The most important thing is your well-being and your health and your recovery, and on behalf of all of us here.
Initially, people didn't expect much from a shy, small girl from a quiet village in England. But then, she delivered an unexpected performance that blew everyone away. With her powerful voice and electrifying dance moves, she set the stage on fire. Applause filled the room. Comments flooded in and her views soared into the millions. It was clear a star had been born. But things didn't quite progress as many anticipated. What happened? Why the delay in her career? Today, we're going to reveal the untold stories Courtney Hadwin has kept hidden. And trust me, they're nothing short of heartbreaking. Music, a little girl with dreams far bigger than her tiny shoulders could carry. That is the first picture you get when you start tracing back the early journey of Courtney Hadwin. Her sudden rise into the spotlight often created an illusion that she must have come from a family soaked in music, a home where someone strummed guitars or sang professionally. Maybe her father was a seasoned musician or her mother had a stage past of her own. But the truth is almost surprising in its simplicity. Courtney had no musical bloodline to inherit from, no guiding footsteps of a singer in the family. Music was not a family heirloom. It was a flame she discovered all on her own out of pure affection for sound, rhythm, and the strange magic of her own voice. Courtney was born on July 6, 2004 in the quiet community of Hessenden, County Durham, England. Her childhood didn't begin in glitter or noise. It was the kind of childhood where neighbors know one another, where life passes gently, and where a young girl can grow up grounded. Courtney was just another child in this close-knit village. But within her was a spark waiting to be discovered, even before she herself realized it. Raised in a modest household, far away from celebrity life or public attention, she grew up surrounded by peace and simplicity. Her parents, Paul and Maria Hadwin, held the family together with warmth and steadiness. Beside her were her younger siblings, Melissa and Paul Jr. Together they formed a small world around her, but beneath that ordinary exterior lay something delicate and powerful: Courtney's untouched, unpolished musical gift. For Courtney, music was not a hobby that came and went with mood. It was a pull, something that tugged at her whenever she heard a tune. She didn't just hum casually or dance along mindlessly. She absorbed music. She lived inside it. Whenever a song played, the world around her slowed down as if giving her space to step into a spotlight only she could see. Their simple living room transformed into her personal stage. That was where her earliest performances happened. A mix of funny dance steps, little spins, and heartfelt attempts at singing, which her family watched with a kind of amused tenderness. They didn't need her to explain anything. Her entire body language shouted what music meant to her. This wasn't a phase. It wasn't a game for her. Music was becoming part of her identity. Taking her away from it would have been like forcing her to breathe without air. So, the family didn't pull her back. That smell, music, instead, they pushed her forward. They became her first audience, her earliest supporters. Her parents, grandparents, and relatives all gathered around whenever she began her little shows. She grabbed anything she could find, a remote, a brush, sometimes a book, and held it like a microphone. Then she would pour her imagination into it with such sincerity that the watching adults often felt a strange emotion rising in them. She entertained them, made them laugh, but more importantly, she made them believe. And slowly that belief grew into certainty. Courtney's enthusiasm refused to stay within four walls. Performing only for family was no longer enough. She wanted more faces, more hearts to reach. School became her next frontier. Lunchtime and break stopped being just about food or playground games. For Courtney, those moments became stages. She sang when others ate. She practiced when others chatted. At first, it was just her, a small girl singing by herself. But soon other kids began noticing. Her voice had a pull. It had a softness and a depth that didn't match her age. Students stopped to listen. Word spread. Before long, the teachers noticed, too. Hassan Primary School unintentionally became her first official training ground. Every time there was an event, celebration, or program requiring Azinger, everyone knew who deserved the spotlight. Courtney wasn't just a student anymore. She became the girl with the voice, a cheerful presence who brought life to the school atmosphere with melody. As she moved forward into high school, the stakes became higher. The academy at Shotton Hall introduced new responsibilities, heavier academic pressure, and the struggle of balancing passion with studies. But Courtney didn't stumble. Instead, she grew. She became part of the school choir, shining in every performance and became a familiar face in school productions. She learned early how to juggle schoolwork and music without letting one destroy the other. Her goal was never fame. She wasn't chasing stardom. She was simply answering the call of something she couldn't ignore. But the adults around her, teachers, mentors, knew what she carried wasn't ordinary. They knew gifts like hers must be shaped, refined, trained. They encouraged her to seek proper guidance to explore her potential professionally. And for that, Courtney needed training beyond what she could naturally perform. Her parents, limited by finances but rich in support, enrolled her in local performance programs. She joined Shotton Hall Theatre School where she learned discipline in performance, how movement complements music, how emotions travel through body language, how presence matters as much as voice. Then she moved to the Peanut Master class and later to Kate Sir School of Music. Every step sharpened her. She learned pitch, scale, progression, technique, but still something crucial was missing. A dedicated vocal coach. Then came Jules Miles' vocal ovation. This was where her rough edges were trimmed and her strengths intensified. She learned to control her voice, protect it, and use it with power and emotion. She began toasing not just boldly but with confidence. But talent needs a stage and the world needed to hear her. Her dreams were bigger than her age. Yet she stood ready. The problem was the path. Professional recording too expensive, joining bands too demanding for a girl balancing school. Touring impossible. So what was left? Which road could take her to the next level without destroying her academics? Courtney's journey toward greatness was never about taking the big leap. She knew that sometimes those monumental moments could take a life to meet or come. In her early teens, Courtney was still young and driven by ambition, but she wasn't about to rush the process. She understood that success was built step by step, and she was prepared to work her way up. Instead of waiting for a massive break, Courtney took every opportunity that came her way. She didn't turn down local shows or festivals, fully immersing herself in these smaller, more intimate performances. Her focus wasn't on fame, she simply wanted a platform to share her voice, her love for music. The young star became a familiar face at local events, earning the reputation as the go-to musician when a festival needed an artist to dazzle the crowd. These moments, though not widely recognized, were monumental in shaping who she was. Every small stage she stepped onto was a learning experience, helping her master her voice and refine her craft. The more she performed, the more her confidence grew. This time, it wasn't just another local competition. It was The Voice Kids UK, one of the most prestigious music shows for young performers in the United Kingdom. Courtney, now 13, had raised the bar for herself. She wasn't just entering as a young hopeful anymore. She was entering as a star. The show's blind auditions marked the beginning of her journey on a much larger stage. For her audition, Courtney chose Nutbush City Limits by Tina Turner, a song that showcased the strength of her voice. It was a perfect choice, and when she performed, the judges couldn't help but captivated by her raw talent. Courtney was picked to join Danny Jones's team, and from there, her journey on The Voice Kids UK became even more intense. The battleground stage was one of the most challenging moments of her life. She performed Dancing in the Street by Martha and the Vandellas, a song full of energy and passion. Her performance helped her secure a victory in the battle round against her competitors, Ebony Green and Holly Furman. But winning the battle stage didn't mean she'd won the competition outright. The real test came in the semi-final where she performed I Got You, I Feel You by James Brown, won over Idols. Courtney's performance was strong, but it wasn't enough to take her to the top. In the final, Courtney performed And I Am Telling You That Imminent going from the musical Dreamgirls, a song that required every ounce of her emotional depth and vocal power. She was so close to winning, but in the end, she lost to Jess Foley. Despite not winning the show, The Voice Kids UK was an incredibly important chapter in Courtney's career. It boosted her confidence, taught her how to compete at a high level, and helped her build relationships with other young performers. During an interview in March 2025, Courtney reflected on her experience, saying, "I was a finalist on The Voice Kids United Kingdom in 2017 on Team Danny Jones. I made some really good friends and still speak to a few of the finalists now, 8 years later. I think it really helped with my confidence, and at that age I really needed to be told you have something." Her vocal coach Jules Miles also acknowledged the significance of The Voice Kids UK for Courtney's career. "In 2017 I put Courtney forward for The Voice Kids UK. Jules said Courtney was initially hesitant about entering such a big competition. She wasn't sure if she was prepared for the pressure. She admitted in an interview, "I wasn't going to enter as I didn't believe that I could do well in a competition like that." But ultimately, the show became a stepping stone that helped Courtney prepare for something much bigger. The unimaginable, America's Got Talent, AGT, music, applause. Courtney's road to stardom was full of steps, each one building on the last. The Voice Kids UK wasn't the final destination, but it set the stage for what was to come. It was here that Courtney learned the power of persistence and the importance of taking every opportunity that came her way. Each challenge she faced only made her stronger. And as she continued her journey, it became clear that she was destined for greatness. And AGT would soon be the stage where her dreams would take flight. The Voice Kids UK turned Courtney Hadwin into a household name in England. Her remarkable achievement didn't just elevate her from a talented local singer to a national star, but it transformed her into a community hero. People across her hometown, Husson, spoke of the young girl who with nothing but ambition rose from humble beginnings to achieve a success that many only dream of. Her story captivated the hearts of many, and her fan base rapidly grew as the news of her victory spread. The British media quickly took notice, strengthening her presence in the entertainment world. However, Courtney wasn't satisfied with just being a local hero. She knew that her talent deserved a global platform. The recognition she received in the UK was monumental, but to build a sustainable career, and more. She craved international recognition, a stage where her abilities could be fully appreciated. That's when the American dream began to take shape. The journey to America's Got Talent, AG, was set to be her next big leap. And she was ready to take it. This wasn't just about competing on another stage. It was about stepping into a world full of seasoned professionals and incredibly talented contestants. The competition would be fierce, and with everything on the line, there was a real possibility that it could all go wrong. But Courtney was determined to prove herself on a bigger scale. With a briefcase in one hand and a heart full of ambition, Courtney embarked on her journey to America. It was the longest trip she had ever taken, both physically and metaphorically. When she landed in the United States, it felt like she had arrived at her destined place. The city, the hustle, the American atmosphere were all there, but none of it mattered to Courtney. All that mattered was the stage ahead of her. She didn't have to get caught up in the spectacle around her. She needed to focus on preparing for her audition. Every second she spent in the hotel room was a chance to train, rehearse, and perfect her craft. Courtney knew that AGT was a different ballgame. This was a stage that wouldn't tolerate mistakes or naivety. There was no room for inexperience. It was either she gave her best or she would be sent back to England with a broken heart. The day of the audition arrived, and the waiting room was filled with a sea of contestants. Each one had their own hopes and dreams, and everyone was vying for a chance to make it to the next stage. Courtney, surrounded by hopefuls, clung to her dad, who had come along to support her, and also held on to her vocal coach, Jules Miles. As the names were called and contestants moved in and out of the audition room, the pressure mounted. Some people were running last-minute rehearsals, desperate to perfect their performance, while others were clearly feeling the